Now what you gonna do about that? Not going. I don't give a about how you play it.
For over a decade, 50 Cent has been dismantling careers straight from his phone without breaking a sweat. Instagram has never been just an app for him. It's been a weapon. Through memes, old clips, and ruthless captions, he's been stirring people up like it's a battlefield. The man who survived 9 gunshots shook the game with Get Rich or Die Trying and secured a multi-million-dollar bag from the vitamin water deal has never backed down. He pressured Ja Rule so hard that his career flatlined, went head-to-head with Rick Ross for years, and openly trolled Floyd Mayweather Jr. He didn't even hesitate to call out his own son on social media. Curtis Jackson has never had a delete or sorry on his record. No one shook him for 20 years. Then came Atlanta's Youngblood. King Harris, just 21 years old, fed up with the trolling targeting his family. When he challenged 50 directly and made it deeply personal, reaching into 50's most painful childhood wounds, including the tragic death of his mother, Sabrina Jackson, the narrative changed. For the first time, the internet saw the untouchable Queen's general go on the defensive. This beef was no longer just memes and captions. It had crossed into deeply personal territory. What should have stayed private exploded on the public timeline, sparking the fire that couldn't be contained. 2 grown men handling business. T.I., the self-proclaimed king of the South and Atlanta trap pioneer behind classics like Trap Music and King, who survived federal gun charges and came back stronger than ever, had been trying for months to set up a versus battle with 50 Cent. According to Tip, the whole plan was revealed on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, where 50 supposedly gave the green light, then flipped, acting like he'd never agreed to it. T.I. broke it down, no cap, revealing exactly how the conversation went and how 50 played him in front of the world. I said, "Take it back there." You like, "Do you want to do it?" I said, "Yeah." That moment was supposed to kick off something huge. 2 legends going hit for hit in front of millions. Instead, it sparked one of the nastiest beefs hip-hop has seen in years, leaving T.I. feeling played publicly.
I'm gonna jump out there first, and then you just gonna jump out there and we'll line it up. And he said, all right.
When Tip went public with the announcement, fully expecting 50 to honor the plan, the Queen's rapper completely reversed course and rejected the idea, stating he would never participate in a versus with someone he labeled a rat. That decision felt unfair on every level. T felt misled and publicly disrespected in front of the culture by someone he believed had agreed to the deal privately. So, in early 2026, Tip appeared on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay podcast and went on at length, calling 50 scary for avoiding the confrontation and using words that made it clear this was no longer about music catalogs or hit records. 50 Cent, following the strategy that has kept him relevant for over 20 years, did not respond with music, words, or direct reply to the accusations. Instead, he posted a manipulated or unflattering image of T's wife, Toma Tiny Harris, on Instagram, accompanied by a caption filled with a kind of dismissive energy is known for when engaging in disputes. He did not address the versus situation. He did not comment on the snitching remarks. He didn't address T directly at all. He targeted a woman who built her own career in entertainment, who had no involvement in a professional disagreement between 2 artists over a show that never took place. That single post changed the entire tone of the situation. One commentator explained in detail why it was such a questionable move, and why it was difficult for anyone to defend it.
I ain't gonna front though, like, I understand if his wife would have said some or if T.I. would have said about his wife or his female or whatever, and then he responded with that, but like...
The point was clear, and it was damning. 50 had absolutely no reason to involve Tiny. She hadn't said a word publicly about any of this. She hadn't posted, commented, or inserted herself into the situation in any way. Yet 50 went after her, clearly knowing that targeting a man's wife would land harder than any line he could drop in a studio. That reaction wasn't unique. People across the internet, from Instagram comment sections to X-quote tweets and YouTube videos with hundreds of thousands of views, were saying the same thing. 50 had crossed a line even his most loyal fans struggled to defend. Going after someone's appearance and personal life to win an argument over a rap battle that never happened was widely viewed as over the top. Even Tina Knowles, Beyoncé's mother, voiced support for Tiny, signaling that the wider entertainment world was watching and taking sides. But the real reaction came from the Harris household itself. King Harris, witnessing his mother being targeted in front of millions of followers, recognized immediately that normal boundaries were gone. From the moment 50 posted that picture of Tiny, King's response set the stage for what followed, showing just how seriously 50 misjudged who he was dealing with. A young man from Atlanta with nothing to lose when someone comes for the woman who raised him. Meanwhile, T stayed composed, handling the situation like a veteran of the rap game. He responded through his music. Within 24 hours of 50 posting the image, Tip released 2 tracks directly addressing the Queen's rapper, asserting his presence and making it clear that the dispute would be handled on his terms. The first track, War, laid the groundwork and set the tone. The second, Right One, went straight for the heart, calling out 50 Cent and putting his most private matters on wax for everyone to hear. The lyrics were precise and deliberate, built around accusations that have followed 50 for years. T addressed 50's personal relationships and past conflicts, using imagery aimed at challenging the tough, larger-than-life persona that the Queen's rapper is known for. He called out perceived double standards and accused 50 of only confronting black artists while staying silent when industry executives crossed certain lines. Every bar was carefully crafted to chip away at the carefully constructed image 50 has maintained over decades. While T handled things through the traditional hip-hop approach, going to the studio and releasing strategic diss records like a seasoned general coordinating moves, King Harris operated on a completely different timeline. On February 24, 2026, King released his own track, Made Man, and it hit in a way nothing his father had done did. The song wasn't polished for radio or streaming playlists. It was raw, unfiltered emotion from a 21-year-old who felt his mother had been publicly disrespected by a grown man who should have known better than to involve her. Every line revolved around one clear principle: you do not speak on his mother's name and walk away unchallenged. What made the situation explode, however, wasn't just the track itself, it was what came next. King didn't stop at music. He didn't follow his father's lead or keep the conflict within traditional hip-hop boundaries. Instead, he took to Instagram with a campaign of exposure that was bold, deeply personal, and completely unapologetic. The intensity of his approach put 50 Cent in a position he had never faced in his entire career as a public figure. Internet were calling 50's most explosive controversy the receipt that had everyone talking. King Harris didn't just drop a diss track and step back. He turned his Instagram into a full-on command center. What he shared cut deeper than any lyric ever could. First, he posted a video featuring Shaniqua Tompkins, the mother of 50 Cent's oldest son, Mez, where she recounted a serious past incident involving 50. A police report from that time supported her claims, though no charges were ever filed. Bringing this footage to light now gave the story fresh attention for an audience seeing it for the first time. Next came alleged documents connected to Loadmac, a deceased associate of 50 Cent, implying that 50 had cooperated with authorities for his own safety during that period. In hip-hop and street culture, accusations of this nature are extremely serious and could impact reputation for years. King presented the material boldly, sharing clips and records in a way that felt like building a case for everyone to see. Even more shocking to fans was how King framed his next posts. He shared images intended to embarrass and poke fun at 50, referencing a classic song in a clever way to turn the moment into a viral talking point. Whether the material was authentic or not became almost secondary. The impact was immediate. Millions who had long viewed 50 Cent as untouchable were suddenly seeing him in a completely different light, and the digital reaction was explosive. The truth is, once 50 crossed a line by targeting Tiny, there were no boundaries left to respect. He had opened Pandora's box, and King ran straight through it, bringing everything he could uncover into the spotlight. As one commentator pointed out, the real question wasn't whether King went too far. It was why anyone expected him to hold back at all. That observation resonated across the internet. This was no longer just about rap. It wasn't about versus battles, music catalogs, streaming numbers, or record sales. This was about family, plain and simple. King wasn't following traditional hip-hop beef rules, online etiquette. He was operating by the code of a young man from the south side of Atlanta who had witnessed someone disrespect his mother on a global stage. And for him, a proportional response wasn't even part of the conversation. King then went even further in a way that surprised even his closest supporters. On February 25, 2026, he shared what he claimed was a childhood photo of 50 Cent, a picture of him as a little boy holding a drawing, on his Instagram story. The captions were carefully calculated, blending sharp humor with pointed commentary. The post immediately drew attention and added a new layer to the ongoing story, showing that King wasn't holding anything back and was willing to get creative in his approach. Then King took things even further, making a direct reference to 50 Cent's mother, Sabrina Jackson, who was tragically killed when 50 was just 8 years old. That loss has influenced every chapter of his life, shaping his music, his interviews, and his autobiography, From Pieces to Weight. By bringing up her name in that part of 50's past, King was targeting a deeply personal and emotional chapter of 50's life in a way that amplified the drama of the public feud. Following that, King released a second track, Sis, which his team described as even more intense than Made Man. During the rollout, he wore a t-shirt featuring the same photo of Sabrina Jackson he had already shared on Instagram. The visual was striking, impossible to ignore, and sent a loud statement. This feud had escalated to a deeply personal level. King's original rant, which ignited much of the firestorm, was caught on camera, and his words left no room for misunderstanding. The raw emotion in his voice made it clear to anyone watching that this was not about clout or performance. It was personal on a level few ever experience.
I want to say something about my mama. Your mama dead as Your mama dead as Go dig her up. Go dig her up.
Then he escalated the intensity even further, making it clear to everyone watching exactly where the boundary had been crossed.
Post a picture of your mama, because she dead. Pay respect. Stop playing with my mama. Playing like that, going like that.
Then King delivered a line that dominated headlines, became the soundbite in every reaction video, and trended across every platform.
How y'all raised? I'm not raised like that. I don't go. I'm not going about my mama. I'm not going.
King wasn't done. He followed that up by telling 50 to go put flowers on his mother's grave instead of posting pictures of other people's mothers, calling his own mother a legend, and making it clear that Sabrina Jackson's memory was not something 50 could use as a shield. He then drew the line that let everybody know the Harris family was not to be compared to anybody 50 had ever beefed with before, saying they operated on a completely different level and played an entirely different ball game. The internet was watching this go down in real time, and the reaction was absolutely insane. For what might genuinely be the first time in his legendary career of running the internet, 50 Cent started deleting posts. The manipulated photo of Tiny vanished from his page without a word. Other provocative content that had been fueling the beef got quietly scrubbed one post at a time. Then came a response that absolutely nobody expected from the man who had spent over 20 years being the most untouchable troll in hip-hop history. 50 posted a philosophical quote, "To entertain is to provoke emotions. Love me or hate me, it's cool. Just care enough to feel some kind of way." It was followed by what a lot of people interpreted as a subtle white flag. "I'm out of here. You guys hurt my feelings." Whether that line was sarcasm, strategy, or a rare moment of vulnerability became the biggest debate across the internet overnight, but the facts on the ground were undeniable. 50 Cent, the same man who dismantled J.A. Rule's career without breaking a sweat, who trolled Floyd Mayweather for half a decade without flinching once, who publicly disowned his own firstborn son on Instagram without showing a flicker of regret, was stepping back from a 21-year-old. The posts were gone. The energy had completely shifted, and King Harris was nowhere close to being finished. "You're going to get me started again. Curtis? Just Steph we." King fired back immediately, making it abundantly clear that 50's attempt to quietly walk away was not going to be honored. Meanwhile, T.I. kept the pressure coming through the music, ultimately releasing 4 diss tracks in total, each one aimed squarely at the Queen's rapper, maintaining momentum and ensuring that the feud stayed at the forefront of every conversation online.